So this is going to be the most definitive video you've watched on our channel, and it's going to be super long. And if you don't already know who I am, I'm Andy Pham, co-founder of Business Grower alongside my partner Louis Ban. And in the last 2 years, we've done almost 15 million for trading discords. And we've worked with some of the top communities. Some have been #1 on Whop, a couple in the top 5, and a few in the top 10. And we've worked with a ton of names you know, and the case studies are on our channel, and then some of them are under NDA, so we can't even mention them at all. But what I wanted to do in this video was pretty much walk through the entire story of how and why we started this business, and then also go through the exact system that allowed our clients to make so much revenue. All right. So over the last 2 years, as you can see on my screen, we've been doing a lot of educational content, not only for our team internally, but also for people on YouTube, for our clients, etc. You can see we had a little businessgrower.com university, which we develop on every single day. We have our advanced trading content course, as you can see here, and we have a ton more that we use for our clients. We have VSL examples, content script examples, CTA examples, story sequence formats, and we've just been doing this for a long time. We're probably the only people to specifically do this niche down for trading discords. So in this video, I'm not going to go through this entire Miro, as that would be simply just ridiculous, but I'm going to walk you through pretty much the thought process on why these traders and why you specifically would even run a trading community, whether you should be doing low ticket or high ticket, the authority ascension funnel, as I've explained in another video. So if you want to watch that, it's going to be the first link in the description. Runs both low ticket and high ticket, and you can see if you think back to the largest names in the space like TJR, Hormozy, like Andrew Tate, they all have a massive product suite. So they're not just selling one thing, they're not deciding between whether they should sell low ticket or high ticket, but TJR has his low ticket membership, Andrew Tate has the real world, Hormozy has his book funnels, yes, those are low ticket sales, and then they all upsell to some sort of high ticket. Tate with the War Room, Hormozy had his 6K, 25K upsell on the book funnel, and then he also has his workshops, and TJR obviously has his one-on-one mentorship. So you guys don't need to decide. I'm going to walk you through both how we do both low ticket and high ticket in this video, exactly how you actually get results in this industry, and I promise you it's not going to be some secret site, some secret email automations. Although you're supposed to have those, it's more about actual real sales and marketing. It's not going to be some basic shit. So as you can see here, we're going to go through a ton of different diagrams. I'm going to pack as much value as I can into a single video. You may have to watch this over several days to even get the actual full value out of this, as this is going to be almost like a mini course. In fact, I would drive while listening to this. I would be in the gym while listening to this, just because honestly it's going to be mostly audio, except for the visual diagrams and the visual aids I'm going to put on screen. So if you're going to look to actually start a trading community, you're going to have to build a brand. You're going to have to actually become a trading content creator. It's not going to be as simple as like, oh, my trading is the best, so I know that if I go out there and just talk to my Discord members, I'm going to make a ton of money and people are just going to be flowing in by the thousands. It simply doesn't work like that, because of the fact that ever since like 2004, this space has become so saturated, and especially since it has anything to do with finances and money at all, especially in these last few years, what's happened on the internet is called a trust recession. And if you search this up, I'll put it on screen right now. So you can see on my screen right here, interpersonal trust in the US has been on a steady downtrend since fucking 1972. We had a little peak here in 1984, but ever since then, interpersonal trust in the US has been on a steady decline, and we're in what I call a trust recession, especially on the internet, especially in the trading industry, because that it just has to involve with money at all. So to become a actual trading brand and to be a big content creator, to have a lot of people in your trading community, to eventually make millions per month selling trading mentorship, you're going to have to be incredibly different. It's not going to be as simple as, oh, I'm going to start my community, I'm going to talk to people in my Discord, and I'm going to get a ton of referrals are going to come in and my brand is going to explode. You have to become a marketer, to be dead honest, if you want to become super, super large. And to be honest, it depends on what your actual goals are, because if your goal is to just hit 10, 20K MRR, you may be just okay with running just Instagram, you may be okay with just having a low ticket out there that you upsell people to high ticket. You sell maybe 1-2 mentorships a month, and you help people out on a small scale, and you might be okay with that. But if you want to get to TJR scale, if you want to get to QBank scale, if you want to get to Roger Bank scale, where they're making, let's be real, millions a month, then you're going to have to do a ton of content. You're going to have to be putting in an exceptional amount of volume, and you're going to have systems behind you that actually not only allow you to do that, but also maximize the returns from your input. So let's start with, depending on your goals, should you start a low ticket community or should you only sell high ticket? And obviously, like I said earlier, you definitely don't have to choose, but it's going to depend based on your goals. So if you want to become very, very large eventually and have big scale, you're going to want to have a full product suite. You're going to want to have a low ticket, you're going to want to have a high ticket, you're going to want to have a mid ticket, you're going to want to have different low ticket cross sells. And the reasoning for this isn't because you're going to make all your money off the low ticket stuff, but the low ticket stuff that people pay for you. They're going to become very accustomed with the things you do. They're going to be accustomed with your strategy. They're going to be sold on you as a brand. And not only that, but also they're going to become a buyer. And buyers honestly just keep buying, especially if the experience they had with your last product is positive. Even if it's not, and it leaves more to be desired from, that's where your next products can be sold, because people will buy when they're most in pain. So business is all about increasing this ratio right here, which is the ratio between how much it costs you to acquire a customer and then how much the customer is actually making you over their lifetime. So if they're a customer for you with 2 years, doesn't really matter how long it is, just how much money they actually pay you over their lifetime. And so cost to acquire customer, if you're only doing organic, by the way, this is going to be in the amount of time you spend. And the reason why we set up this process for Trine Discords, where it's a low ticket and a high ticket and a mid ticket and low ticket cross sells, is because, especially if you're doing organic, you want to maximize especially if you're doing paid rather, you want to maximize the amount of money you can get out of a customer, especially if it costs you money to acquire them, or even if it costs you time. So what's the lowest friction thing we can to get people into the buying loop? So it's going to be some sort of low ticket that breaks down beliefs or gets people super custom with your strategy. The reason why a lot of our clients do so well, like Dodgy, if he was only selling high ticket, he'd have a much harder time building a cult-like audience around his strategy. IFVGs wouldn't be as big because we helped him explode that. All right. So with a low ticket, when you have people paying you $99 monthly, and then you also have people buying your IFVG course, you have people buying your $17 mini course on IFVGs, breaking down beliefs on why people can't trade, and then getting them accustomed with your strategy, getting them accustomed with why you're different from others, that's going to provide much more value, and they're going to pay you much more in the long term rather than if you just decided to just pull 10K out of them instantly. All right. Especially since you can hit the unfinancially qualified people as well, the people who are from different countries, or maybe they don't have a lot of trust, maybe they don't even have a lot of money at all. If they join your low ticket, if they pay you a little bit of low ticket stuff, they're gonna build trust with you, and eventually, as they build that capital and they build you in their mind as a trusted authority in their space, especially if they're going to be using your specific strategy, your specific methods, and studying from you. When they look to get further help, who are they going to pay? They're not going to go to some random other guy who's never helped them. They're going to come back to you because you've given them a positive experience in the past. So in order to help make my point, you can see on the screen here, I'm going to show you. So Google did a data study back in the early 2000s across billions of data points on internet businesses, and they found that, and this is going to explain why you want to have so much organic content. This explains why our funnel works so well, and this explains why beginning to break and create yourself as an authority in the space is so important, because as I said earlier, person-to-person trust is at an all-time low in the past 40 years. You can see on this chart, right? So Google did a case study across pretty much all the online businesses they had back then, and they found that on average, and this has probably changed a bit since then, it's probably even more intense than this, but back then, on average, in order to turn a cold viewer or a cold lead that's found you on, back then it was going to be Google search engine was big, but now it's going to be a lot of social media. To take someone from a stranger to a customer online, on average, it's going to take engaging with 7 hours of your content across 11 different touch points in 4 different locations. And that's what we call the 7-11-4 rule. And this is a process that we've massively outlined and plugged in to what we call the Authority Ascension funnel. And this is what we use for all of our clients. So how do you actually get people to go through the 7-11-4 so that they can actually become a customer, actually build some authority with your brand and start trusting you specifically? So obviously there's pretty much only 3 aspects to business, making money, marketing, and sales. So it's going to be the traffic you can actually pull into the funnel. So this is pretty much going to be your top of funnel content / the ads you run. Just how are you going to get traffic into your business? And then Hormozi has the four ways of getting traffic, which is warm outreach, cold outreach, organic content, and paid ads. And the only ones that work for trading communities that we found is going to be organic content and ads. And the reason for this isn't because warm or cold outreach sucks. In fact, that's what we initially grew our business on. The reason why is that because if you want to become a trading mentor, you want to be an authority in their head. They want to come to you to learn from you. You want to be one of the only people in the world that teach specifically what you teach. And so if you're doing warm or cold outreach, if you're out here DMing people, if you're out here DMing people on Discord, it's very obvious to other people, oh, they have time to DM me. Their time is not worth that much. And obviously, if you knew what you were actually talking about, then people would be coming to you. All right, so that's why the most leveraged things you can do is pumping out a ton of organic content and a ton of ads. And we'll touch on this in a bit. We'll touch on how specifically to make your content actually high quality, attract high quality leads, and then eventually how to pull them off. But one is going to be the amount and the quality of traffic you can pull into the business, and there's 2 more steps to marketing and sales. The second one is actually converting those leads into a paying customer. So that's going to be where you plug in your 7-11-4 rule, and that's what the Authority and Ascension funnel does so well. Obviously, we are very good at the trading Discord content. We've posted over 15,000 trading posts of trading content in the last 2 years for trading creators, and we've probably generated over 1 million followers for these guys. But what actually makes them money, and because if you're just doing brain rot content and you never actually have a system behind that converts people, you don't make the most amount of money from your audience. So the funnel actually is super important. It's just only one step of the puzzle. And the third step of actually making money in this business is after you convert these people, how much money, how valuable can you make them, I should say, because the other way sounds a bit scammy, even though it's not, because the amount of value will correlate to how much money they actually pay you, or at least the amount of perceived value that you give off will affect the amount of money they end up paying you. But in order to make a customer value, it's very, very simple. So give them enough perceived value and give them enough hard value for them to see it as worth it. All right. So if someone's paying you $99 a month, you should be giving them more than $99 a month in value. And now with trading, especially with signals, even though we don't really work with or we don't really market people as signal groups just because that leads to low LTV. What we normally do is more education. If people come in for education, if people come in to learn your strategy, then even if they don't make money for 3 months, they're more inclined to stay for long term because you've set the expectations correctly. As in, this is not a signal group, this is something long term that you're gonna have to learn how to do. All right. But hard value, if you're a signal group, obviously you can just make someone take a trade that makes them more than $99 a month, and now it's incredibly worth to keep you. But that is very hard. If signal groups worked for everybody, then everybody would be a multi-millionaire, right? The reason why signal groups don't work for a lot of people is that obviously the person giving the signal is going to take the spread's going to be different, the broker's different, the timing of when you actually take the trade is different, your risk management is different, you might not know when to enter or exit. So obviously signal groups tend to get lower LTV just because it promises way too much. People come in, don't make money because it's still a skill of trading, that they don't have, and then they're inclined to leave because they were overpromised and underdelivered. So and another point to this is you also need to give them enough perceived value. So you can give them soft value, and you can give them education, you can give them community, things that don't technically make them the amount of money, but eventually will make them the amount of money back. Or if it's community, just something they see more than $99 a month in value in. And the reason why I'm saying $99, by the way, is because that's a sweet spot we found with LTV. So if you're $99 a month, people tend to stay longer and end up paying you more than if someone was paying you like $47, $20 a month. All right. But your perceived value can be affected by a lot of things. So the amount of education, the way your stuff is structured, and obviously perceived value is going to be massively influenced by the way people actually perceive your product, the way people perceive your value. So one of the big things we build into our funnel, which you can see here somewhere, it's going to be in email automations, I believe, but we have onboarding sequences and we have churn sequences, and we set up the channels inside of the Discord to help onboard people. Because if you could have the most valuable product in the world, but if it's too complicated, if leads come into your Discord, they end up paying you, and then they're still super confused on where to go, how to get value from the server, then they're obviously not going to want to stay. So that makes an onboarding sequence, that makes your onboarding process super, super important, so that you can increase the perceived value and set expectations correctly to increase LTV. And then what you can do a little tactic you can do is you can have churn sequences and win back discounts on the end, which we also plug in for our clients, which is pretty much if they do end up churning, you can send them email sequences, maybe resetting expectations, maybe offering a win back discount. So maybe they get 50% off their first month when they come back, just to kind of rehook them, get them back in the buying loop. Just small things like that can recover a decent bit of revenue. Our clients make a few thousand a month off churn emails, even if, but I'll tell you, the onboarding sequence is going to be much more important, the process you set up there, because if someone's just going to stay for a long time, we have some people in some of our client trading Discords who've stayed for 3-4 years. And if they're paying you for that long, then they're definitely going to be trusting you. They're definitely going to be seeing you as their mentor, and then you can upsell them to something mid-ticket or high-ticket to help them closer. In fact, it's honestly super heartwarming when they end up upselling to our clients' high-ticket mentorships. They meet them one-on-one. It's awesome. All right. But you've heard me in this funnel talk a lot about unique mechanisms, specifically about your strategy and how you want to get every single lead pretty much bought in to your secret thing that whatever, you're the authority and you're the only one teaching, right? And so how do you actually achieve that? And the way you achieve that is through what's called a unique mechanism, which is pretty much for traders, for most traders, if you're a day trader, if you're a swing trader, going to be the specific strategy, the specific model that you trade that makes you different from others, right? So Dodgy has this IFG model, Colin has his Trinity model, Jack Trades has his 10 a.m. 4-hour PO3. ICT did a really good job of this. He took maybe Wyckoff or whatever he ripped off, and then made it his own ICT. So we have had clients do that, and it's worked super, super well. We had this client who created the EMS system, which was pretty much just an options trading system that he turned into what he called EMS. That worked super, super well. He managed to build a brand around that, and he's doing over 100K a month. Dodgy obviously blew up with IFGs. So any unique mechanism you have, what I would do is I'd turn it into your own. If it's something already super well known and you can be called like a scammer for doing it, then probably don't. So like if you turn the IFG model into something like, I don't know, the inversion method or something like that, then it's probably not going to work as well, because people are going to be like, oh dude, this is Dodgy's IFG model, isn't it? But if it's something like an options trading strategy or a wheel strategy that even not a lot of people know about, then you can rename that, right? But especially in ICT, it's going to be a bit harder just because that community is pretty tight-knit. And the interesting about the ICT community is that they're all pretty damn educated on ICT. So what's important with the unique mechanism is that you actually plug that in throughout your entire funnel. So not only is it going to be what you make your content primarily about, not only is it going to be what's inside of your lead magnets, not only is it going to be in pretty much all of your copy, including your ManyChat automations, in your landing pages, in your email automations. It's going to be the primary thing in your free community. It's going to be part of your offering. Pretty much you want to build a brand around your unique mechanism, even over yourself sometimes, just because obviously that makes the business a bit more valuable. If you know what enterprise value is, then you get what I'm saying. If not, then you can ignore this bit. But all right, so let's go into the actual top of funnel content or the ads you should be doing, or just in general, how to actually get traffic into your funnel so that you can make more money. Because essentially all this business is going to be is getting more leads through the door, at least quality leads, and then converting them, talking to more of them so that you can sell them, and then making them worth more. That's really as simple as it is. It's only simply 3 steps, all right? So the content, obviously, like I just said, has to be very, very deep into your unique mechanism. And the way our clients make the most money is going to be educational content. And if you haven't seen us already, you can click onto our YouTube video, or if you just search up business grower trading content on YouTube, you can see we have a full tutorial on how exactly to do our content style. But you can see every single one of our successful clients does this style, and even people are breaking into it, like some big names like FX Alex G. I'm even seeing some new marketers, just pretty much everyone's starting to do this style just because of how powerful it is. So I definitely hop on it. And to be honest, it's not going to be saturated. If you've ever been in the drop shipping space, people said drop shipping doesn't work, but drop shipping is pretty much just selling a product to someone. I mean, let's be real, they don't know it's being drop shipped. Content is the exact same way. If you're providing value to them, it's not going to be like, oh, I've seen this style too many times, albeit novelty is important. If they're seeing, if they're getting value from your content, it's not going to matter like what kind of style you're doing, all right? But all of our clients do the split screen style right here, and as you can see, it's going to be very, very deep in tune to their unique mechanism. So you can see Dodgy here, this is his YouTube shorts. For some reason I don't have his Instagram on here, but every single one of his shorts is going to be about, oh, this ICT strategy is insane. And this is just really creative ways and really unique ways to frame his unique mechanism. So you don't actually have to put like, oh, this IFEG ICT strategy is insane, but what you do and what Dodgy does super well, if you look at his YouTube, if you go to videos and hit popular, you're going to see like, oh, top 10 IFEG concepts, or like best ICT strategy, 90% win rate. And what this actually is, isn't him specifically marketing IFEG strategies to I gotta explain 5 levels of awareness. I'll explain this in a bit, but people who don't already know the IFEG strategy, they're going to be more hooked by things they already understand, like words they already understand. I mean, like best ICT strategy, 80% win rate plus. When you click on that video, it's not him just talking about whatever is like the most actual optimal ICT strategy, but he's selling his own unique mechanism, the IFG strategy. So you're going to be seeing in every single one of his shorts, this ICT strategy is insane, that's about IFGs, stop using hard stop losses. As you can see literally in the thumbnail, he's explaining his IFG model, but he's explaining a specific aspect, and this is where you can pull a ton of content ideas out of. All right, is Bitcoin dumping? He's explaining Bitcoin, he's explaining a current event, but with his specific strategy. So you can see here on screen, I'm not really sure if you actually can, but you can see it in versus IVG. So he was like, oh, Bitcoin's dumping, right? So you can take current events, make it specifically about your strategy, and that way you can pull what I'm going to call in a bit problem aware people who don't, like, they understand like, oh, I'm shit at trading, but they don't know how specifically to get an edge. You can pull those people into solution aware by teaching them your specific strategy. But how do I explain this? It's moving people through the 5 levels of awareness very, very well, because they're taking what you already know and then hooking that into their specific solution, which Dodgy does super, super well. The secret gap is a money magnet, obviously. He's explaining a confluence for his IVGs. Bullish or bearish, he's doing a what we call a CLG, chart level gamification. So we do this with like, is is the chart going to hit this level or this level first, but he's specifically tying it into his strategy, so he hits a wider audience and then pulls them into his unique mechanism. All right, and Colin's going to be doing the same thing. If I had to use one strategy for the rest of my life, this would be it. It's a good way to pull people from like, oh, okay, yeah, what strategies would this guy use for the rest of his life? It must be good. He's going to be teaching his Trinity model. All right, the indicators are part of his Trinity model, or at least they are confluences to them, and he can tie them in. These 3 trading rules are going to be rules and checklists around his specific trading model, and some of these videos tie in lead magnets super well, and I'm going to explain that in a bit. If you want a 75% win rate like me, just copy these 3 steps. Obviously, 3 steps, Trinity model, 3-step model, all right? What he actually used to call it the 3-step model, so you can see this. Pretty sure anybody could get a 70% win rate using this 3-step model. You can see not only do these videos do well, but they're going to be attracting high-quality leads because it's specifically about trading. So you're going to be solving a problem that they already have, and they're going to come pay you because they have that pain that your problem solves. So you're not going to be attracting like these Tate videos, talking head, kind of like this shit in his pinned, or like a lot of people post brain rot content when they're sitting in their like Corvette, just kind of with their phone being like, oh, POV, you lock in. You're not going to be attracting specifically traders. You're going to be attracting a lot of college kids who don't have the pain of trading. You might be getting them into trading, but they're not going to be very valuable in the long term just because they don't have the pain that your product actually solves if you're selling a trading mentorship. It works for Tate because now he has such a wide, massive reach that he can sell the real world where it's like a ton of different hustles and it's just genuinely how to make money because he has such a massive reach and influence that he can pull that TAM into his product, right? But you can see all of our clients' content, especially even if you look at the biggest guys like TJR, if you look at FX Alex G, the way they blew up wasn't this talking head brain rot stuff. They actually blew up on educational content, and then as you get larger and as you expand, you can expand your TAM from your content, and you can start going into lifestyle stuff because then people actually care because you already have that cult-like audience around you, and you already have a lot of money. You're already living an exceptional life, so you can actually spread that to the world, right? And this is the same in ads, this is the same in YouTube content. You want it to be primarily about your unique mechanism. You want to pull people in. You can make videos to problem aware people who don't already understand your strategy, and hook them in. So you can see a lot of Dodge's YouTube videos. This one is already to solution aware people. So this is just helping convert people who are already into IFGs. And then some of these are to more problem aware people. How I pass this top step challenge. It does say IFEGs there, but obviously if you just want to pass a top step challenge, trading a PM session, then you click that video and then get hooked into IFEGs, right? Never miss a real draw on liquidity again. He's pretty much teaching a confluence that ends up tying into his IFEGs. So pretty much what he's doing is pulling from different audiences, pulling from different ICT audience, day trading audiences, and then hooking them into his unique mechanism, which works super well. So if you're interested more in the content, obviously I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on into how to actually pull these people off social media and then convert them, and then eventually how to make them high LTV. And we're going to go pretty into depth into this. But if you're mainly just interested in the content, I'm not sure if I'm going to have a CTA here. But if you maybe click the description or go on our YouTube channel, or maybe just search up business grower trading content, there's going to be a few videos specifically explaining not only how to actually record the content, like how to set up OBS, how to set up lighting and all that, but actually what to make your videos about. And obviously it's not as easy as just popping up OBS, putting on a split screen and explaining stuff on a chart. Obviously there's a lot of engagement hacks that you actually have to use, and we have a whole course on this. So you got your hook, you got rehooks, you got sub hooks, you got what else? There's a ton. I've been talking so long I can't remember them off the top of my head. But we have a full video on how to actually structure your content, advanced breakdowns on the sub hook, rehook, visual engagement. That's super important. This is probably the most important thing, especially on Instagram. If you scroll your Instagram reels right now, just look at the first frame. You can literally pause every single reel on the first frame, and you're gonna see the reason why they get like 80,000, 100,000 likes and millions of views is because their visual hook is so good, you just can't even scroll. So this is what we do with hook titles sometimes, because this isn't going to get millions of views, to be honest. I mean, some of Colin's videos did get millions of views, but the important part is that you're attracting a high-quality audience, and the high-quality audience that actually has a pain of trading, that sees you and hears what you say, the people that will actually be valuable to you will be hooked by the kind of visual hook that Colin, Dodgy, Jack Trades, Deal is doing, all right? And then what's also important is the actual transfer of energy and the pacing. So obviously there's a few videos like about that on our YouTube channel, but I would especially go to Colin Jones's Instagram, go through a ton of his big videos and count the amount of seconds you're actually on a frame. So I'm not going to do it here on this video, but if you go to Colin's Instagram and you just click him, the hook's 3 seconds. The next frame is 3-4 seconds. The next frame is 3-4 seconds. The next frame is 3-4 seconds. And he's constantly switching through these things very, very quickly to keep you visually engaged. And the transfer of energy in his voice, the transfer of the facial stuff he's doing is super good. And you'll see this in TJR's content as well. He's a super good example. And we have a few docs actually breaking down his specific hooks, his sub hooks, his re-hooks, the transfer of energy he does, and the visual engagement. If you click on his Instagram right now, you're just going to be like, I have to click that video. Like, what even is he doing? All right. Obviously, his is a bigger TAM, but you get the point, and you want to plug that into your educational trading content as well. All right. But if we go into number 2, which is pretty much pulling people off social media. So obviously, like I said before, all of this has to tie into your unique mechanism anyways. So if your content is already about your unique mechanism, like Dodgy's content is about his IFEGs, so when you pull people off, how are you going to pull people off? Like, why wouldn't they just scroll to the next video? You have to provide something super valuable, and so we use what we call lead magnets, or we use what most people call lead magnets internally. We call them HVCOs. If you've read Sell Like Crazy, shout out to Savri Subi, then you'll know why. And this is specifically because this is supposed to be a high value content offer. And I'll go to our Business Score University page on. So we have a few videos on this where we actually go through this exact presentation, but I'm going to break it down for you here. So you want to build a high value content offer, an HVCO, a lead magnet, in other words, which takes people from just like, who are you? I've just seen you for the first time on my social media, into shut up and take my money. All right. So you want to pull them off Instagram. You want to pull them off YouTube. You want to pull them off TikTok, and you want them in your email list and in your Discord, learning from you and being like, holy shit, this guy's strategy is insane. Like, how do I pay this guy to learn more? All right. And so the most important thing, and the reason why we call it an HVCO internally, is because the most fucking important thing is that it has to be valuable information that directly solves their problem in exchange for their contact details. All right. And the way you frame the contact details, if you're going to do this yourself, is just you don't say like, hey, I'm going to take your email, I'm going to take your phone number and sell it to people so that you can get this PDF. What you say is, obviously, if you just send me your contact details so I can send it over completely for free. All right. But you want to give away something that solves their problem. So if the video attracts people who don't already have a strategy or want a strategy that has specific, etc. win rate back tested, then your PDF and the HVCO you offer on that video that pulls them off is going to have to align with that. So a lot of our clients do checklists, a lot of our clients do a breakdown on specifically how the strategy works, how to trade it, how to backtest it, etc. And that works super well. And something important with the HVCOs as well, which I'm going to explain later, is kind of the supply and demand. The reason why we do like one-page PDFs, if you've seen that with our clients, instead of like full video courses, is because it allows the supply and demand. If you do a full video course and give it away as an HVCO, you may get pretty good leads. You may get some to be nurtured very well and build a lot of trust with your brand because you've given away so much value. But also, now you can't sell a course. Now you can't, it's hard for you to sell more education if you've kind of given away everything you know, and now the rest of what you say is kind of repetitive, right? But let's see. Yeah, so it's called a high value content offer because they must be actually be valuable enough to move them up the pyramid here, which is actually known as the 5 levels of awareness. So I'm going to search this up on Google so I can show you how to do. So here to the right of my little webcam is the 5 levels of, they call it customer awareness. I usually have this upside down. I usually have this like here, but this is from a Eugene Schwartz book. This is like a few $1,000 book. It's super rare, super hard to get, but the way this works is that your HVCO and your content will mainly be, 80% of it at least, should be to the problem aware people. So people who may not know about your specific strategy or your specific solution, you want to convert those people into solution aware. So how can your PDF do that, and how can your content do that? So what you want to do, like Dodgy did with his long form content, is you want to pull people from other audiences, people who have this problem but don't specifically know about you and your strategy, and then pull them in with the content, hook them in with the content, pull them to a lead magnet that specifically teaches them about your specific unique mechanism, and then that's how you turn them solution aware. So that's as simple as it is, and then eventually you get them sold on some of your products, you pitch them there. But the hardest part and the most valuable part is pulling them from problem aware to solution aware. So I'm telling you now that this is a little bit, not the actual system we use, but this specific guide right here is a little bit outdated because we actually made this in maybe early 2024. All right, so it's been like a year and a half since we made this, but what we found for the best HVCOs and the most common that we see are checklists, one-page PDF checklists, cheat sheets, and then video courses and live demos we haven't seen work too well. But what we've seen work super, super well is checklists, cheat sheets, flow charts, breakdowns work super well, and then just other educational sheets, pretty much. Just one-page things where it's like, okay, I get instant value, because what you want to balance in is the time to value. Like, once you download this PDF, you instantly have the information, and then you also want it to be honestly part of a routine that they have. So if you have a checklist, you can tell them to put it on their second monitor while they trade, if they have one, or even just print it out and hold it, and then that's going to get them super, super involved with your unique mechanism, especially if they're gonna back test it with a checklist, because what happens is it becomes part of their everyday thing. Like, okay, I'm gonna be an IFVG trader, I'm gonna have the checklist on my second monitor, I'm gonna make sure every single trade I take is A+. If people did that, by the way, people would be a lot more profitable. At least that's what Dodgy says, but obviously humans are pretty undisciplined. But yes, so that's how you actually pull people off social media. That's how your content actually has to end up being, so that you can pull them off, get them into your unique mechanism. And now it's how do you actually convert them off this. So I'm going to find our little funnel chart real quick. And oh, by the way people got to these lead magnets was most likely either your link in bio, if you're running on TikTok, YouTube, or if you're on Instagram. What we run is ManyChat, and the reason why is because not only that does that boost engagement on the post, so Instagram pushes out to more people because more people spend more time on the platform, but just also Instagram doesn't really like links, so when you do comment X, and I'll send you that, not only does it stay in their DMs, and it's a little bit more, it feels a little bit more personal, but they're obviously more likely to use the lead magnet if they get a little personalized message sent to them. All right, and it's not really personalized, it's completely automated. ManyChat's awesome, and also they're partnered officially with Meta, so you don't have to worry about your account getting banned or anything. You can search it up if you don't believe me, but I've been doing this for 2 years and I've made 50 million, so I'm probably a decent bit trustworthy. All right, but after they claim the lead magnet from your ManyChat automations or your link in bio page, which, by the way, internally, if you're already a client of ours, we call our link in bio page a separate thing. It's going to be a sales page, pretty much a catch-all page, where if they didn't claim any lead magnets, what you have in your link in bio is a VSL that actually breaks down and gets them sold on your unique mechanism as well, but then also gives them the option to either just do a Godfather offer, which we use a free trial for. So if you want to try 7 days in the community completely for free, test trading out the strategy, all we need is a card on file. Obviously we don't say that, but when they click the link, they put a card on file and then they get in for free for 7 days, or they have the option to go into your Discord, spend more time with your brand, watch a bit more of your educational content, go through the 7-11-4 like we spoke about, and then taking your Godfather offer. Or even inside of your Discord, inside of your emails, you can give them the option to instantly go to mid-ticket, high-ticket, some of your low-ticket cross-sells, etc. Just whatever's in your product suite, all right? But off the lead magnets, we get them not only in the Discord, and the way we do this a lot of the time is either So you kind of have two options when sending someone a lead magnet. You can either send them the Google Drive link or just a straight download link inside of the email or text, whichever one you do. We found emails a bit better for low ticket, just because it's a little less intrusive. You get higher opt-in rates because people are more willing to share their email than their phone number. But if you're doing high ticket, phone number is super, super important, especially if a setter that can reach out to them. So in your email or text, you can either send them the direct download link or the Google Drive link, or you can send them a link to where your PDF is actually stored inside of your free community. So if you put your PDF in a forum channel in Discord and then copy the link to that and then send them to that link instead, then they're going to be forced to join your Discord, get push notifications from your announcements, start seeing your social proof inside of the Discord, start seeing the positive messages from your community, start seeing the results you have every single day, and then also see the CTA channel inside of the Discord, as you can see here in this image. Just start rambling, but obviously if you send them to your free community, they're going to get through more of the 711-4 quicker. And once they claim the PDF through there, they may also go through the rest of the forum channel, which will have more PDFs, which will also help with the 711-4. That's going to be a few more minutes, few more hours, maybe if they really study it, of the content they engage with, learning about your unique mechanism. But it also really, really helps with the 11 touch points, and they're seeing you in different locations, so it helps with that 4 platforms, 4 locations rule, part of the rule as well. And not only that, but if you're collecting email, if you're collecting SMS, then obviously you're going to have, we build out automations for our clients on the back end as well. And these tend to bring in about 20-30% of the actual revenue, because what this does is this massively helps people get through the 711-4 rule, because they're getting push notifications from Gmail, they're getting texts maybe from SMS of you just purely providing value, and then maybe pitching them something that it's hard to say no to, honestly, which the free trial is, which is why we call it a Godfather offer. It's like, you'd be stupid to say no to this. This is something that is just like, why would you ever say no? Just something with a higher conversion rate than like, hey, want to pay me $100 right now? You get the point. And it also reduces friction with the free trial, by the way, because they get card details on file. So if they want to stay, they don't have to do anything. They don't have to touch it. It just auto charges them after the 7 days. All right. But these email automations, so inside of it, what you do is pretty much you just provide more value. You can link them out to other lead magnets. Mainly what you want to do, though, is you want to send them to your YouTube long form, because YouTube long form, obviously, how are you going to get your 7 hours? It's going to be damn hard to sit there for 7 hours and watch all of your short form content ever. But it's going to be much, much easier to binge watch maybe 8, 9, 10 YouTube videos over a few weeks, right? So if you link them from your email automation and from your free Discord, free school, whatever free community system you have to your YouTube, you're going to have much, much higher conversion rates compared to if you didn't, right? And then from your YouTube as well, you can also link them, and Dodgy has this as well. If you go to his most popular videos, you'll see he has a video specifically about his checklist, breaking down the checklist, breaking down back testing the checklist, and then obviously you can gain access in the description. And then you can also pitch them, or pitch them a mid-ticket, pitch them a high-ticket thing, depending on what level of friction the video has and what kind of audience it will actually bring. All right, but in a very, very simple nutshell, it's as simple as that. It's pull people from Instagram, it's pull people from TikTok, it's pull people off short form, bring them into your ManyChat automations, your link in bio page, so that they can claim your lead magnets, CTA to the lead magnets inside of your short form. And then once they're they've claimed your lead magnets, they're starting to learn specifically about your unique mechanism. Now they're in your Discord, now they're in your email list. They're getting more value from you. They're watching your YouTube videos, they're watching some of your short form stuff, they're looking through your lead magnets, they're seeing your social proof inside of your Discord, they're seeing the trade results you get every single day, they're seeing CTA channels, they're getting different offers, and this is how you actually pretty much just take over their attention. Because to be real, on the internet right now, it's a complete Hunger Games for attention. It's a war. All right, it's not going to be like, oh, hey, come here and pay me if you want. You're going to have to, especially if you know you have a product that can help them, it would be a disservice to them not to market well to them and not to sell well to them, if you know that this is actually going to benefit them. So be all over. Get those 4 locations, increase the amount of touch points these people have with your brand, and increase the amount of hours they're actually engaging with your brand, because that's how you build a ton of trust, and that's how you build your brand up as an authority in their brain, so they eventually want to pay you or they're going to be okay with paying you higher prices because they know damn well you're legit. All right. And so the last bit of this video, it's sad to say goodbye. I mean, it's going to be like another 15 minutes because I'm going to make this an hour video, but it's going to be specifically about how to make your customers more valuable to your business, how to provide more value to them, and how to increase your perceived value specifically so that you can get them to pay more, get them to pay for longer, and make more money overall and provide more value to them overall. All right, so, and I'm showing you this on screen, which is some of our case studies without actually growing socials, because this section, increasing the how valuable the leads who pay you actually are, as well as increasing the amount of conversions you get off social media, is how we scale these people without growing their socials at all. So we can completely, I mean, it is increasing the amount of leads they get, but not increasing the amount of potential leads they get because we're not increasing the traffic. All right, so with Johnny here, we 2x his MRR in 81 days. We got him from 8.8k MRR to 17k MRR in about 3 months, which obviously isn't an insane case study for us. We have much more crazy, much more crazy case studies, but the way we scaled Johnny was obviously, as you can see here, increasing the amount of leads he's getting from his same social media views, just from lead magnets, just from being able to plug in that unique mechanism for him so that he has a bit more of an authoritative brand, but then also increasing the amount of touch points, increasing the amount of hours people spend with the brand. But obviously, you can see here, increasing their Discord joins, we increase conversion rates by a few percentage, which when you get to hundreds, even thousands of leads, is actually going to be a big deal, as it's going to be end up like a few extra thousands a month. Once you get to thousands of leads, which a lot of our clients are at, it's a few extra tens of thousands a month. And then his free trial conversion rate, and this is going to be the part that I mean, like actually increasing the amount of value, actually almost it did 2.5x. Yeah, 2.3x, and then his churn about stayed the same. All right, but obviously churn can increase a little bit, especially when you're increasing the amount of people you're actually getting into the membership. Obviously, when you're getting more people into the membership, the amount of friction for like how high quality that member is going to be obviously has to decrease a bit. So churn may stay the same or decrease, even if you're improving your processes. So that's just kind of how stats work. So if you didn't know, but same thing with a ton of these case studies. So Sean Reckman doubled his MRR from 31k to 63k in literally a month, just by plugging in the lead magnets, getting more leads in, increasing the amount of people we get inside of the email list, inside of the Discord, so that we can increase the touch points, increase the hours, just like last time. And just because obviously, since we almost 2.5x the leads, the conversion rate from the leads to a free trial can about stay the same, just because obviously you're going to reach more colder audiences. And if it drops by 2%, that's fine, just because you're doubling your leads, right? Free trial conversion rate was also increased just because we're very good at our onboarding sequences and our onboarding processes, and churn actually halved. All right, so that's an insane result, and that's going to be half of what we did for these guys is going to be explained in the next section, so I definitely stick around for that. 3M trading also 2.26x their MRR in about a month without growing socials, and it's just by massively exploding the amount of leads they got. And obviously, like I said here, their conversion rates actually dropped by fucking 90%, from 92% to 9.1%, but because we like 30x the amount of leads they get, that's going to happen. And 10% or 9% conversion rate on 4,300 leads is much better than 92% on 157, especially since we dropped churn by 300%, I guess, like negative 300%, whatever it is. We dropped it by like 3x, if you know what I mean. So 33% to 14%. But yeah, so I'm going to explain to you exactly how we increase LTV, the math behind it. So I'm going to pause the video real quick and go to that section. And so again, real quick, before I go into this math on your screen here, I just wanted to say there are going to, ever since we've been running this for 2 years, there have been little people that have actually paid for our courses, learned a lot from our YouTube. they pop up and try working with these traders. They realize it's much harder than possible and they tend to fade away. But you're going to get some arguments that high ticket alone is way better than running a low ticket. And I'm not going to say I disagree, because I will say we run high ticket ourselves, but we also run low ticket because that's how you get the most amount of money out of an audience. But here's the thing, you can absolutely do both. The biggest names in the industry do both. And the thing about the low ticket is that it actually almost microwaves leads for you. So it's a super low friction thing that you can get a ton of your leads through from social media. And then once they're sitting inside, not only are they more accustomed with your stuff, but they're your brand, they're spending a lot more time with your brand. So when you eventually do upsell them to high ticket, not only is it going to be easier to retain a sales team because the leads are a lot warmer, but you're just going to get simply higher lead to conversion because they've already spent so much time with you. And we've made near $500,000. I mean, we've done maybe 100K these last couple months, just from, and I mean 100K just from upsells from our low ticket inside of Business Grower as well. So we know this works for us, and we've seen this work for some of our biggest clients like Dodgy, like Jack Trades, like Colin Jones. All right, so this works. Marketing works. I mean, it's pretty damn hard to deny that. But for low ticket specifically, we'll get into those KPIs first, and then we'll talk about how to actually upsell them to high ticket. All right. So obviously, to increase your CAC to LTV, we want to. You can only really decrease CAC by so much, because especially if you're running ads, like you're not going to eventually pay 1 cent per customer. Although that'd be great. You're probably going to max out, if you're doing high ticket, probably going to bottom out at a few hundred, maybe a couple thousand, if depending on what your ticket price is. And for low ticket, you're probably going to bottom out around a bit mid-high tens or in the few low hundreds, depending on what your product is, how good your offer is, etc. So what you want to do is you want to massively increase your customer lifetime value. And Hormozy said pretty much 90+% of his wealth was made when he had like a 1 to 50 LTV or CAC to LTV ratio. All right. So this is how you actually end up growing businesses. So how do you actually grow your LTV? So if we're looking at CAC to LTV with organic content, 1 hour of your time may lead to 500 emails, or at least this is what happens with a lot of our clients, because they can spend 1 hour making a couple videos. They get a ton of comments on that videos to their lead magnets, and then they end up with 500 emails, 500 people in the Discord, or like around that. All right. And so what actually ends up happening with most of our clients on average is that 2% of these leads actually end up paying. So let's say, what are we looking at? So 10 paid, I'm not sure why this says 1,000. Oh, because 99 a month. So 10 people paid, 1,000 revenue up front, and you have 20% churn. So you get 1K up front from these 2% of people that pay, and then since they have 20% churn, each of these 10 people end up being on average 500 each. So you on average total get 5K in LTV from 500 emails, 500 average LTV per customer. So on average, for some of our clients, 1 hour can equal 10 customers, which equals 5,000 in revenue if you're doing low ticket alone. Now, one of the easiest ways to increase your LTV is to increase the quality of the amount of cross sells and the amount of upsells you're doing. So some of our clients have things where they cross-sell, like a $17, $20 trading journal, or maybe like an indicator they sell for $50 a month with 20% churn. That's another continuity offer that can increase your LTV. So let's say 20% of these people, so like 2 of them cross-sell to a $20 trading journal. That adds an extra $40 of LTV, which isn't a lot, but obviously this will increase the amount of people, especially if your product is good, this will increase the amount of people that eventually cross-sell and upsell to other things. So don't count those out. 20% of them may cross-sell to the $50 a month, 20% churn indicator, which would lead to, if you do the math, about 500 in extra LTV, and then 10% of them may upsell to a 10K mentorship, which would be insane. If one of those people pay you 10K, that increases your LTV from 5K to instantly triples that to 15K. All right. So obviously, I'm not saying high ticket is bad. I will never say high ticket is bad because high ticket is how I made most of my money. But low ticket is definitely a huge part of what's made my money here on the internet and a huge part of what's made my clients money on the internet. So you can pull a ton of these people into low ticket, and then you'll actually have higher conversion rates to the high ticket that you sell. So instead, if you add cross sells and you add upsells, instead of spending 1 hour to make 5K, you can now spend 1 hour to make 15.5K if you add these cross sells and upsells according to this math. All right, and obviously results vary. Little disclaimer there, but you want to plug in a full product suite. And then this specific section, I'm going to go deeper into cross sells, upsells, and downsells, because that's going to bring you more LTV than just increasing member retention. Because to be honest, most people are only going to stay for so long. Some of our clients, some of our top clients get average LTVs with a $99 membership of like $1,700, but really we've never seen much over 2K, if ever. We have a client that's been number one on Whop a few times, and their LTV from their low ticket is $1,700, but it's harder to get it past that. So how can you make more than $1,700 from a client? And the way you do that is going to be these cross sells, these upsells, and these downsells. So you have to set up a full product suite, all right? And the way it works is almost like a little staircase. And obviously this is gonna be a fucked up staircase. If you're actually gonna draw it out fully, you're gonna have like a massive thing here for low ticket, because you wanna have as many ways to pull people into your funnel and get into your unique mechanism as possible. So you wanna have a ton of low friction entries there, and then you wanna have a couple mid tickets, you wanna have maybe a couple high tickets, because high tickets are obviously harder to fulfill. For low ticket, someone can pay you $20, be automatically fulfilled by just Whop sending them a PDF. But high ticket, if you're going to be doing a one-on-one mentorship with one-on-one calls, giving out your personal phone number, doing these one-on-one calls, doing these group calls, maybe doing journal reviews like some of our clients do, you can't really offer a ton of those, all right? But it works as a little staircase. You're going to have your low ticket products, your mid ticket products, your high ticket products, and sometimes your very high ticket products. And you always want to have something super, super expensive that people can buy, because some people will buy them, especially if you're at the scale where you're like, oh, there's no way someone's going to pay me 1K. You're going to find some people will pay you 20K, all right? And the only thing worse than paying or pitching someone with a $200 budget something for 1K and them not buying is pitching something to someone for 1K who actually had a 20K budget, because you just lost 19K in potential revenue. All right, so you want to plug in your low ticket, you want to plug in your mid ticket, you want to plug in your high ticket, and then just whatever your high ticket is, I'd like 3, 4, 5, even 10x it if you're Grant Cardone. If you've read that book, you get what I'm talking about, for your very high ticket product. So this could be something like you fly out to them, or you fly them out to your villa, and then you do one-on-one with them for like a month, and you make sure they get a payout or something, and then you stay in contact for et cetera, with personal phone number. They actually become like your mentorship student, like for real, like in real life. And that's something you can do for very high ticket, just an idea, right? But your product suite, you want to generally have pretty much every price range, because you want to pull as much money out of people as possible, and you want to account for people that may not have enough trust in you at the beginning to pay you 10K, and you want to be able to account for people that are not financially qualified at the moment, so that they can stay in your ecosystem and they can continue that buying loop. So once they are financially qualified, or they have built that trust and authority with your brand, then they can pay your mid-ticket, high ticket, or very high ticket. All right, so that's the point of your product suite. You pretty much, it's going to be, I mean, really, we should rename it to product ecosystem, because that's what it really is. And so some ideas for very low ticket is like what we sell is like a $17 BBLT, which is a belief breaking low ticket. And the way this works is it's almost like your HBCO, where you want it to be something super, super valuable, where they know you're legit. But the reason why it's belief breaking is because whatever the ideal client, whatever you get the highest conversions on your other offers, your low ticket, your mid ticket, your high ticket, your very high ticket, you want to turn them into that customer. So if people who buy your 10K membership already understand your strategy, already understand that like psychology is the thing holding them back, then your belief breaking low ticket or the rest of your product suite can get them there by teaching them that. And so pretty much they can pay to be marketed to while also getting value, so you're not scamming them, but getting them in your ecosystem, and they're paying to eventually get upsold by you, is pretty much how I can say it without being without being scammy. All right. For membership retention, pretty much that's going to be in this funnel. So it's going to be in the email automation. It's going to be in the onboarding process. So what I do, if you want to just retain people for longer, let's say your churn rate is 50%. It depends on what scale you're at. Obviously, if you only have a few members, don't worry about it and just increase the amount of leads you're getting, increase your customer acquisition. But if you're at like a few hundred members now and you're thinking like, wow, my churn's still 50%, you should figure out absolutely why. All right, so go through your Whop cancellation reasons. Those are most of the time useless, but you can get some few gold nuggets out there. Do a feedback form, send this out to your community and realize what people like, what people don't like, what people want more of, what people want less of, and then pretty much just make your product as focused and as valuable for those people as humanly possible. And then something that's super important as well is going to be the perceived value of your product. Because if people don't really know how to use your product, then they're not going to be able to get value out of it, right? So send out emails and set up your Discord, set up a Start Here channel is what we call it. That pretty much explains exactly how to get value out of your Discord, exactly where to go, what to do, what steps in, and pretty much you want to get them to what we call an activation point. So an activation point is something to where they get past that point, they're going to stay for a long time. Netflix had this with Breaking Bad, where I believe it was like season 1, episode 5. If someone got past season 1, episode 5, they had like a 90% chance to watch the entire season. I definitely wasn't one of those people. I stopped in like season 3, but I just watch shows like that. But find that for your specific business as well. So if someone shows up to a week of live trading, maybe throws a few chats in, you want to do all your email onboarding emails, and after they do that, they stay for like a couple years or upsell to a thing. You want to get them to that point as desperately as humanly possible. So make that a step in your onboarding. Make that fucking mandatory if you have to. Add onboarding calls where you get them to commit to doing that. Damn, make them sign a contract if they have to. Just, you get what I mean. Obviously, don't make them sign a contract, but get them to those activation points by whatever means necessary. And make sure to market to them in the emails, make sure to market to them in SMS if you collect that for your onboarding. Make sure to put that in your Start Here channel. Make sure to say that in your streams so that people who come in know how to use your server and get to those activation points as fast as possible so you can actually increase your member or your LTV from membership retention. And then after that, if they stay in your membership for a long time, they're going to be much, much more prone to actually purchasing your cross ups and down sells. So you're going to increase LTV that way as well. But that's pretty much the end. Please leave a comment because I like seeing those comments, and I promise I will reply on this video because I did put a lot of effort into this video. So if you're interested in more videos like this, where I pretty much just talk at you and explain exactly how to make money, then obviously like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, and whatever you see on the screen, if you want me to explain it or if you want Louis to explain it, just comment, and then we'll go through whatever it is you want talking about. But yeah, this was the entire system, and it's very, very basic, but that's a good thing because obviously you want to make money, and making money isn't hard. Don't make it hard. This was our entire system that we've used to do 15 million in the last 2 years for trading Discords, and we've worked with some of the biggest top trading communities. So I just want to reaffirm, like, this is legit value and you should plug this in. Like, I'm not going to be scamming you. There's nothing I'm selling you directly on this YouTube video. Plug this in, get the value from it, watch more of our YouTube videos, then you'll know we're legit, and then come and pay us fucking 100K. All right. But yeah, we are the only people pretty much on the internet that are teaching specifically how to grow trading communities. We were the original as well, so any people that pretty much came up, they pretty much learned from us, and they stole a lot of our stuff, and they don't have as many data points as us, so that's kind of an argument for watching our YouTube channel. But if you're a trading community owner, or you actually want to level up, like if you guys are a bit smaller and you guys want our help eventually, but maybe don't have the trust in us right now, or aren't financially qualified to work with us, watch more of our YouTube, because I promise you that's going to be so valuable for you to grow your trading Discord on your own, and then eventually work with us because you'll make money. All right. But yeah, just wanted to say, comment, watch our YouTube videos. I'll see you guys in the next video.